All right, a very big welcome to you, my viewers and subscribers from all over the world. I want to welcome you specially to yet another time with me on The Truth with Ben Jokes, your #1 political talk show. Now, many Nigerians are stunned that with the prevailing hardship in Nigeria, the TINUBU administration and the APC in general are constantly rolling out new initiatives aimed at worsening the situation. I don't know if they are working towards a situation where Nigerians will begin to gather in their thousands to take their own lives. I don't know if that's what they are trying to do to us. For the past 1 year, Sanwo-Olu has been demolishing people's properties in Lagos. Look at this. Lagos traders appeal to TINUBU Sanwo-Olu over demolition threats. For God's sake, times are too hard for all of these. This country is going through her worst phase ever economically. How can Sanwo-Olu and Wike be hell-bent on destroying people's means of livelihood? The APC is tearing the nation apart from every side. If demolition does not catch up to you, Fulani headsmen or kidnappers will. And if you escape insecurity, inflation, tariff or school fees increase will catch you. And few hours ago, a very terrible update came out of Southeast Nigeria. This particular update broke my heart, and the Southeast must rise now to curb this. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that shocking update from the TINUBU cabinet began making the rounds. TINUBU, in a speech in Minna, claimed he had completed a task, but NELFund, the body that is specifically assigned to complete that same task, came out and debunked his statement. I have never seen anything like this in the history of this country. TINUBU's statement being debunked by members of his own cabinet, to the shock of Nigerians. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you these updates. The first one here is a video that directly shows how TINUBU, through his refinery in Malta, has played a huge role in disrupting the balance of the petroleum sector in Nigeria. TINUBU and his cohorts have ensured that the price of petrol remains very, very high in Nigeria. See the video.
Yes, second month of the year.
Second month of the year. So I like data, because data is incontrovertible. You can't argue with data, especially when the other side cannot dispute data. Between October 1, 2024 and December 31, 2024, the players in the mid and downstream sector, along with NNPC, imported 3.8 billion liters of PMS into Nigeria.
October?
Yes, between October, that's the Q4 of 2024. Between October 1 and December 31.
That's 4 months ago.
4 months ago, they imported 3.8 billion liters of PMS.
Refined
PMS. Well, it's arguable because, there is proof. There is paper trail to show that about 35 or 40% of that product was actually routed through Malta, through blending. And show, as we speak today,
the same controversial in Malta.
Yes. PMS that is blended in Malta is still being imported into Nigeria, up to about 180,000 metric tons a month. The 3.8 billion liters that was imported within the intervening period is valued at, I would say, about 3.6 trillion naira. So between January 1 and January 29, motor vehicle tanker report shows that 458 million liters of PMS was brought into Nigeria this past month.
Imported. Refined products.
Did you hear that? We are trying to stop the importation of petrol into Nigeria. We are trying to have our own refineries so that the price of petrol can come down. But did you hear the amount of petrol that is being imported into Nigeria from Malta, a country that has been shown clearly to have refineries belonging to TINUBU? The young man said he likes dealing with data, and between October 2024 to December 2024, 3.8 billion liters of petrol was imported into Nigeria, and there is paper proof to show that 35 to 40% of the 3.8 billion liters of petrol that came into Nigeria came in from Malta. And we all know that TINUBU is the only Nigerian bigwig who has refineries in Malta. And according to the speaker, importation is still ongoing till this very moment. And these are facts on paper. So tell me, how are we ever going to be able to stop the importation of petrol into Nigeria when the importers are the ones in power? What a disaster. And that is why I call Senator Jimoh Ibrahim a madman and a clown for what he said in this next video that I'm going to show you. See the video.
Because you are disputing facts, and an average person who is watching will imagine, is Senator Ibrahim living in another country, for goodness sake? Because the food that people are buying in the market, maybe we go into, well, you know, you're a rich man, so you probably go into a different market than some of us, average person, who the kind of market that we go. But the big question here is that the average person is feeling the pinch, and the renewed hope agenda that your party, you people preach about, they're asking, where is the renewed hope?
Okay, very good. Now let me tell you very clearly. You have a reform. It's not the same day that the benefit of the reform crystallizes into your comfort. You have see that happening in America. I'm sure you say you want to go to that very soon. Now you see tariff. What is the end? Who is the end? You know, what is the consequence of tariff? Who bear the burden? It depends that buy the goods. So what is President Trump doing? He's actually copying some of the initial policy of this present government. We remove subsidy on oil. So you increase tariff in America, so that you don't want to tell America that I'm going to tax you directly. I will increase tariff on people importing goods to our country. What would those people do? They will increase the price. Who pay that? Those who have money in America will go and buy those goods. Price has increased. Government has taken the tariff on arrival at 20% or 35%. So don't continue to criticize your government when the government is doing that. We talk about the New Hope agenda. You know, our agenda is on course because it comes with the face of a reform. That reform has its benefit in the short run. And within the short run, there were palliative measures that were introduced such that it can cushion the effect of any pains that you have. And as we move on down the line, you realize that Nigeria begins to be very happy, more happier than what they were before. It's not that they are not happy before, you know, because all of this you are talking about, I haven't seen any university that have closed down. I've not seen many companies that have closed down. Aliko Dangote brought in his refinery within this period. He's selling, dropping price of petroleum, increasing it and all that. He didn't collapse. I've not seen any television station that have closed down. Yes, things are bad. I've not seen anybody. I don't know all of these things.
So Nigeria is in the best state.
I am telling you that
if
you consider the economy in the previous administration that put the economy on financial dangerous lane, and with this new administration and the dynamics of economic policy that this government is distilling to ensure, look, 2025, 49.7 trillion budget, right? Deficit financing of 15 trillion. Now, servicing debt, 16 trillion. 16 trillion servicing debt, which this government didn't collect. Now, plus 15 trillion deficit financing, 31 trillion minus 49 trillion. What is left now? You look at the size of the economy. The budget is $30 billion. You can't compare that with China. China is 16 trillion GDP. Nigeria is $482 billion GDP. Will you compare that? So what are you talking about? In what way has this government performed so badly that people cannot see, reasons?
You heard that. And if you listen carefully, you would realize why I said Senator Jimoh Ibrahim is a madman or a clown. Because he said that Donald Trump is actually copying the initial policies of TINUBU regime. Only a madman can say that Trump is copying TINUBU. Then he went ahead to say that in what way has this government underperformed that people are complaining? That is clearly somebody who is insane. But I believe that Senator Jimoh Ibrahim was actually just mocking Nigerians in that video. And I think we as a people deserve all the mockery that we can get from these criminal politicians. Because we have not risen up to them, even though they treat us like slaves. A time has to come when ordinary Nigerians will hear Jimoh Ibrahim talking like that, and they would walk into the studio while the program is going on and beat him, give him the beating of his life, and then proceed on a national shutdown, come revolution. Because without a revolution, this country will never come good. With men like this at the helm of power, and there is no revolution, we will never get out of this quagmire. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that very ugly update coming out of Ebonyi State. And next is that update signifying massive confusion, corruption, and shame in the TINUBU cabinet. Let's start by taking that update coming out of Ebonyi State. Look at how the papers reported it. Photo news: Ebonyi residents flee community as death toll from herdsmen attack rises to 16. Residents of Amegu Nkalaha community in the Shelu local government area of Ebonyi State are fleeing their houses in droves as the death toll in Sunday's armed herdsmen invasion rose to 16. When Sahara reporters visited the community on Monday, hundreds of residents were seen on the road leaving the community with some of their belongings, including cooking pots and mattresses, to nearby communities. On getting to the community, the surviving residents were seen in clusters mourning their losses. Sahara reporters was shown houses and properties that were burned and destroyed by the invading assailants, who took advantage of Sunday morning when majority of the people had gone to churches. Sahara reporters counted 7 yam barns that were burned. 25 houses were completely razed. 5 houses which didn't burn down had their windows and doors badly damaged. Some of the corpses being buried during the visit had their throats slit, while some had several gunshots. Speaking to Sahara reporters, residents who spoke in Igbo lamented the complicity of the Nigerian army and the Nigerian police in the gruesome attack. After the carnage, they said the Nigerian army troops and some policemen were sent to the community to condole with the residents. Worse still, when they came, the soldiers seized the phones of our people who were making videos and threatened that if they see the videos of the carnage and pictures of the destruction, they will come back and destroy them, said one Edeze, whose phone was seized. According to him, after they carried 10 corpses, which our people recovered, including a retired policeman, namely Mr. James Ogbu, from different locations where they were slaughtered, the soldiers returned and handed back the phones seized from the people. Even the deputy governor of Ebonyi, Mrs. Patricia Obila, was the one telling the police that they should go for mass arrest in our community, accusing our people of killing cows belonging to the Fulani herdsmen. Till now, she hasn't visited the community. Edeze regretted that the government only raised its voice when a community is accused of killing cows, but will remain silent when our farms and crops are destroyed by the same cows. Cows over human lives in the southeast? This is an abomination. And the speaker said even the deputy governor of Ebonyi State, Mrs. Patricia, is taking sides with the Fulani herdsmen. The people of the southeast must not look at these things and ignore them, especially those living in the southeast right now. If the governors have entered into alliances that afford herdsmen to wreak havoc on the people unchecked, then the people must have to rise up themselves. Rise up and force the hands of the people in charge to do something about it. And Oga Mayor here says political correctness is the greatest undoing of the southern leadership. The security of the people should come first and every other interest should be secondary. The House of Assemblies in the East should wake up and the people should implement laws if the police refuse to do their job. That is it. I've said this before. The House of Assemblies in the Southeast must move to save their region. They should enact laws that will banish open grazing in the East. If possible, banish Fulani totally from that place. Point blank, period. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that update highlighting the massive confusion, corruption, and shame in the TINUBU cabinet began making the rounds. Look at how the papers reported it. Here is the background to the story. Over 104 billion naira disbursed as TINUBU student loan reaches 600,000 beneficiaries. This was what TINUBU said yesterday while he was giving a speech in Minna. But NEL Fund, the body that is responsible, specifically responsible for disbursing the loans, have come out to say that those figures are fake. Look at how the papers reported it. Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, denies disbursing 104 billion in student loans to 600,000 beneficiaries, Sahara reporters. the management of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund (NEL Fund) has debunked the report that it has disbursed a total of 104 billion to 600,000 beneficiaries across the country since it was flagged off. The fund, under the leadership of Akintunde Sawyer, made the denial in a statement while reacting to media reports that the fund has disbursed the sum of 104 billion to 600,000 beneficiaries under the student loan scheme. It described the report as inaccurate. Some media reports claim that Bola Tinubu announced that the student loan scheme has benefited 600,000 students across the country with over 104 billion naira already disbursed. Tinubu was reported to have made this known on Saturday in a message to the 33rd convocation of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, Niger State. But reacting to the report, NEL Fund, in a statement issued on Monday, said the reports are contrary to the actual figures it has. NEL Fund said as of February 3, 2025, NEL Fund has received a total of 364,042 student loan applications. So far, the fund has disbursed a total of 20 billion and 74 million and 50,000 for institutional fees, benefiting 192,906 students across various tertiary institutions. Additionally, for upkeep, NEL Fund has disbursed 12 billion 818 million 960,000 to 169,114 students, each receiving a monthly stipend of 20,000 naira. We appreciate the unwavering support of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in making higher education accessible to all deserving Nigerian students. NEL Fund remains committed to transparency and efficiency in managing the student loan scheme and will continue to provide accurate updates as disbursement progresses. You heard that. Now, Tinubu's speech in Minna said they had disbursed 104 billion naira to over 600,000 students in loans. But NEL Fund is saying that they had only disbursed slightly over 20 billion naira in fees and slightly over 12 billion naira in stipends, making about 32 to 33 billion naira. Now, if you do a division of all the monies they said they had disbursed, both Tinubu's disbursement, Tinubu's supposed disbursement, and NEL Fund's supposed disbursement, what you arrive at is far below the figure they agreed upon to give to students when they began these student loan shenanigans. But I don't even want to go into that aspect. Let us look at the conflicting figures between Tinubu and the cabinet that he set up for disbursement. This is not an auditor. We didn't send an auditor to go and audit them. It is not Peter Obi trying to see if they did the right thing. This is their own testimonies conflicting now. We never even touch light am to see wetin dey happen there. They cannot even be consistent in the figures between themselves. That tells you the level of corruption that has taken place. And all these monies you are hearing, the monies were actually available and they were released, but they didn't get to the students. And of course, as soon as this update dropped, it became the major topic in the Nigerian political media space. But what more can we say about the APC government? It is just lies and lies and lies from the beginning to the end. Agbalaka here says APC and Tinubu continue to deceive a nation of over 200 million people with propaganda. Why won't they continue when they are not seeing any reaction from Nigerians? I keep saying it. If people know that they can steal at will and get away with it, what will motivate them to do the right thing? I don't see anything. And Umar Abdulmutalib here says, Yahoo government, upon all media aids, the black market government had but still reported lies. Not even one aid can caution the others against fake news. That is it. This government has the most aids, the most number of aids in the media in the history of this country. I think they have like ×3 of the media aids that Jonathan had. Yet lies upon lies. You know, the more aids you have, the more lies will come out. When you just employed people to just keep concocting lies because you are not doing anything. But I don't expect anything different because this is the APC and they have come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And that is why we keep telling Nigerians that for us to have a country at all in the near future, we must come together, keep our differences aside, unite, and kick the APC out of power. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una na I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go away.